Support provided by Walters, Papillon, Thomas Cullins, LLC, specializing in business litigation and personal injury cases for over 40 years.
Today's about gun safety and gun violence and our combined message to encourage one and prevent the other. There are no political messages or positions taken, just our desire to encourage gun owners to properly secure the weapons in our homes, to keep them out of the reach of children, to prevent accidental discharges, to properly secure weapons after leaving home in unlocked vehicles so that those will not be stolen and used in crimes of violence, and to send the message that gun violence is not the way to resolve conflicts that exist. I want to thank all of those that made today possible. The Louisiana Association of Broadcasters, Polly Johnson and her staff, LPB, Beth Courtney, Christina Melton, Donald D. Ray Washington, who performed the bulk of the work that you'll see today in the PSAs. Crime Stoppers, for lending their name to our message as the vehicle to take action following any calls that we may receive for assistance from the community. All of the television and radio broadcasters who have worked on the messaging and given their ideas to today's message and future ones, especially iHeartMedia, WAFB, WBRZ, Cox Media, LPB, Be Our Proud, Guaranteed Media, Cumulus Broadcasting, and others that I may have missed. We hope to continue to expand this list of broadcasters to include our print media, the Advocate, and other means of communication. Our PSA participants, a few of them may be here today, Ms. Rhonda Breaux, Reggie Morgan, who's here, Hull Davis, who may be able to make it later this morning, Liz Robinson, and Coach Murray Tate. Each of these participants that are here are able for you to meet and speak with about their personal message and their experiences. These are some very fabulous people that you will get to meet. We began this idea of trying to get our message out nearly a year ago by meeting with many of our broadcasting stations managers to see if the idea was doable. After months of brainstorming, we were able to meet with LPB to create video and audio messages, to work with our LAB to bring together the broadcasters to disseminate our message. With the assistance of the Chief of Police, the Sheriff, and the Mayor, and others, we were able to identify those that you will see in our PSAs today. We plan to continue to meet to discuss our message and better ways to get our message to those who we seek to target: grandparents, parents, home and car owners, and those in our community who are in conflict and who have access to illegal weapons to be used to solve temporary problems. At this time, what I'd like to do is to show you 4 of the different PSAs that were put together, again, with everyone's assistance, filmed at LPB, with the assistance of this business here today. And there are 4 very powerful messages that we hope to get our message of gun safety and anti-violence across.
More than 5,000 guns are reported stolen in Louisiana each year.
My son, Jamison Tate, was killed in a violent gun crime. If youth encounter a gun, it's usually stolen, or even a parent has left it out for a child to have access to.
Gun casualties are the leading cause of all weapon-related deaths in children under age 14. Please, be a responsible gun owner. Safely secure your guns so that they won't wind up in the wrong hands. If you see something, say something, and save a life. Call Crime Stoppers. There are 33,000 gun-related deaths in the U.S. every year.
Violent crimes have plagued our community. I see it every week, the loss of young lives to violence. Too often, that 10 and 12-year-olds have lost their lives and mothers have to mourn and bury their loved ones.
Gun violence impacts black communities at a rate nearly 4 times more than any other community.
Guns don't make the man. Please put the guns down.
If you see something, say something, and save a life. Call Crime Stoppers.
My name is Rhonda Breaux. I'm the mother of Brandon Dwayne Chapman, lost him to gun violence.
My name is Elizabeth Robinson. My son is Lewis Robinson Jr., and my son was a victim of gun violence.
You don't need a gun to solve any type of difference.
When you choose gun violence, you not only hurt the victim's family.
Think about your parents, your siblings.
This could be you sitting here. Talk to someone. instead of picking up a gun and deciding to take someone's life.
If you see something, say something, and save a life. Call Crime Stoppers.
My name is Reggie Morgan. I've been affected by violence so many different ways. I've been on both ends of the gun. I went to prison for attempted murder. Also, I've been shot 4 times. And I could honestly say that my life was affected, not just mine, but my family, my kids. So many times we think that we have to react to situations when you really don't. When small situations come, I just let it slide. It's not worth it.
But I think that these are going to be powerful for us to get out, and we're going to ask the cooperation of all our different media partners to do that. So I'd like to call up right now if we get Beth Courtney of LPB. And Beth?
Well, good morning, everyone, and it is our pleasure to be involved in this project. But when Hillar Moore calls you and says, I really need your help, and then Polly follows up and says, I think broadcasters should be doing something together to help stop some of the violence that's going on in this community. We were very happy to assist in this fashion, and I'm so fortunate that we have a great team of Christina Melton, D. Ray Washington, who have edited these various spots. It's very interesting that we generally don't cover crime news, if you will. That's not a public broadcasting particular area. But we certainly see the impact on the children when we do Ready to Learn and education outreach activities. And we know that this is a challenge for our community, and we think that media can be so powerful. Many times we're accused of violence in media and a variety of other things, but I think working together, we can make a big difference in the lives of the children in this community. And LPB is so happy to cooperate with all of our fellow broadcasting colleagues and print as well. We had the privilege of doing the pool feed for Kathleen Babineau Blanco's ceremonies and services recently, and we could see how we could connect on all platforms all across the state of Louisiana. And I think some of these challenges we have today can really be addressed together if we continue with this effort. And our first meeting, there were many good ideas about how we might shoot for October as doing a collective work together, doing some documentary work, and LPB is certainly committed to using our tools, and we look forward to working with all of our fellow broadcasters, and nothing could be more powerful and more important. And thank you for letting us be part of it, Hillar. Thank you.
So you saw in the commercials, we asked people if they had something that they wanted to report or call for help or assistance to call Crime Stoppers. We talked about should it be the police, should it be the sheriff, who should they call? We decided it should be Crime Stoppers. They've been in the community for a long time, and we'd like to continue getting that message out. So I'd like for Sid Newman of Crime Stoppers to come along with Christina Melton. We also have next steps that we want to go forward. So, will the kids really respond to this type of message, or will this message more for parents and grandparents and homeowners? How can we make sure that we get the message to the children who are subject to gun violence or prone to violence themselves? So our next steps will be, the next future will be text messaging, social media. We have somewhat of a plan for that. Surely Crime Stoppers has that app available. We have to make sure that it's clear to people that they are completely anonymous, which no one really understands that they really are, that we have no idea who they are. So Sid and Christina, if you could maybe talk a little bit about that.
Thank you, Hillar, for having us. Yes, there's 4 different ways in which you can report this information and remain completely anonymous. We've been doing this for 37 years, and in 37 years, no one's identity has ever been known. We, the people in Crime Stoppers' office, we don't even know who these people are, these concerned citizens that contact us, because we never ask their name. We never exchange names. When you contact Crime Stoppers, and there's 4 different ways, which I'm going to talk about, you're immediately assigned a code number. We don't have trap and trace. We don't have telephone ID. We do not want to know who you are, but we do want to know the information that you have. And as an incentive, if your information proves to be correct, in which we can recover an illegal gun, arrest an indictment of some sort, you're eligible for a cash reward, which is also paid anonymously through that code number that you're assigned. Since the inception of Crime Stoppers, we've paid out $2.1 million in cash rewards, all 100% anonymous. We pay these rewards through a drive-through window of a bank using that code number. All right, now there's 4 different ways in which you can contact Crime Stoppers and report this information.
the 344-STOP or 344-7867, or go to our website, crimestoppersbr.com. Christine is going to tell you a little bit about our text. You can text Crime Stoppers at CS225 plus your message to crimes. That's 274637. Again, you're going to remain anonymous. And our new one is a P3 app. You can get it on, it's P3 app on Apple or Android. You download that. It's good anywhere in the world. There's over 400 Crime Stoppers programs worldwide that are using this. We got this app because now we can even receive photographs and videos. And again, it is guaranteed 100% anonymous. We don't want to know who you are, but we do want to know the information that you have. And Christine, I think you're going to talk about some of the concerns.
Sure. In working on this campaign, one of the things that we learned from the people that we were interviewing whose family members were either crime victims or people who had been dealing with threats against family members was their fear of contacting Crime Stoppers for not being anonymous. And so one of the things that we learned is that if we can educate the public about the anonymity, but also the text part of this, most kids who are, this is the target audience for these messages, are younger people who text and who use apps. These apps where somebody could maybe take a screenshot of a social media threat that they're aware of against somebody in the community. If we can educate the public about how this will work and help people who are fearful and see a threat, and so that they can say something and people can do something about it and be investigated. And that's a very critical part of this. So all of these spots we're going to put also on social media and make them available for cross-posting, which means your news outlets can post them as your own. And so, this isn't about who created the message at all. This is about getting the message out and making sure people understand. We also encourage you, if you have other resources or information that you think are beneficial to other news agencies that you have come across, that we can try to put it in this FTP folder. This is on LPB server. Everybody can access this and pull information down. The assets, as you'll see, is a list of the scripts for the spots. There's a number of resources for community members who may be looking for help, and for resources for kids who might be in trouble, family members who are looking for help. There are resources there as well. We just really think that the key is to teach the people who are feeling threatened and who know of potential incidents to contact police. So,
if I might also add something, the Crime Stoppers' office is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you contact us, either call us, go to our website, text us, or go to the P3 app, you're going to be dealing with a person. After our normal working hours, we have a call center that's located in Canada, and that's by design because every once in a while we have defense attorneys try to get our records, and because we're privately owned, they can't get our records. We have a state law that protects us, but we went that one step further. In Canada, they can't release that information either. So anytime that you have any information or you believe something, the safest way to say something is to contact Crime Stoppers, because no one's ever going to know your identity unless you say, hey, I'm the one to call, and you could be eligible for a cash reward. Thank you.
So the next person I'd like to introduce is my new best friend, Reggie Morgan. I'm not sure how he got my name or I got his name, but it happened on the same day. And we made a phone call, and he said, I was getting ready to call you. And I said, well, I'm calling you. We met to eat lunch. He said, I never did think I'd ever be sitting with the DA, having served time and been shot before. And I said, I'd never thought I'd be sitting next to you, breaking bread with you. But then we met each other again on the public square, sat next to each other. And I think the relationship that we have with Reggie and other people like him that have been formerly incarcerated, that have been victims of crimes, have been defendants and involved in crimes, I think it's beneficial. Surely we need to listen and speak and open up our eyes to what they know, what they've experienced, and I think that Reggie can be an extremely powerful messenger for us, particularly the message that he has to deliver. And I'd like to welcome Reggie Morgan.
How y'all doing? It's a privilege to be, upon the extreme pleasure to be seated here. It reminds me of Jesus. when I think about how he went through so much suffering, but it was because he was able to relate to the hurting people. And you know, as myself, I've been through a lot, but I was always a good person. I was very obedient to my mom, but in the streets, I put a shell on, and it made me become someone that I really wasn't, you know. So, in understanding my situation and why I did a lot of the things that I did, I've been shot 4 times. I served over 10 years in prison. I've done some things that I just can't talk about. But what's so amazing about it is this: that wasn't me. So most of the guys that's out here doing the killing and doing the right, that's not them. It's a shell. If they just had an excuse, they wouldn't even do it. You know, the media and culture, hip hop, it creates an environment to where if you don't do this, this is who you are. So nobody want to look weak. No one want to look like they're scary. So I have a new movement that we're putting together called Let It Slide. And what Let It Slide does is gives an option, and it puts it before you. You don't have to do that. Let it slide. It's cool to let things slide. And if we can make that real visible, very cool and exciting, if I'm with my girlfriend and something happen, I can be like, babe, I'm gonna let that slide. And she understand I'm not weak. So I think that's one of the most valuable things, you know, that I see. I know that we all together have to come together and make this work, and I'm just here to play my part in any way I can. I thank y'all.
Thank you, Reggie. Also said Miss Liz Robinson showed up. She was in one of the commercials. Liz, just want to welcome you, and hopefully you'll be able to speak to some of the reporters later on. So now it's my pleasure to introduce the mayor of the city and the parish of East Baton Rouge, Mayor Sharon Weston Broome.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to the collaborative that has worked to put this together. Our DA, our sheriff, our police, the broadcasters, the community. Reggie represents the community, and so many other partners in this process. This shows when you have a collaborative effort, the power and the action that can be taken to address issues. And so I want to say thank you once again for your leadership. Our role in the mayor's office is to complement what is going on with the commercials that you see or the public service announcements that you see. And so we are going to encourage responsible gun ownership because we understand that it is critical to our community. So this Saturday morning at 8:30 at the Baton Rouge Police Headquarters, we're going to kick off our gun safety initiative, and we call it Project Child Safe. If you looked at some of the public service announcements, you noticed that gun safety was emphasized. It is a national program designed to promote firearm safety with a focus on storing firearms responsibly when they aren't in use. And so here in Baton Rouge, we will be providing thousands of free gun locks through partnerships with numerous organizations. The gun locks are available to anyone who wants one, no questions asked. The point is, a hidden gun is not a safe gun. We're doing all of this because everyone here knows that safe and secure storage works. It's a real solution for safer communities. And so we encourage all of you to join us this Saturday. Spread the word. We'll be at the Baton Rouge Police Headquarters for Project Child Safe and the Gun Lock giveaway. Once again, thanks to Hillar Moore, to Chief Murphy Paul, to Sheriff Sid Gotro, to all of our broadcasters who are assembled, and the community for collaborating on ending the violence in our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. So now we'd like to hear from our Sheriff Sid Gotro.
Thank you, Hillar, and good morning. And I just want to echo what Hillar and the mayor both said. I mean, I'm not going to go back through the list of thanking everybody that's in this room, but sincerely, from me as Sheriff of East Baton Rouge Parish, I am truly thankful for all of your participation in this program. I think it is much needed. It's been talked about for several years, but it's coming to fruition now. There's a lot of you in this room that had players in this room that had to be a part of that to make this happen. And I encourage people to be on this room, in the media and so forth, to get on board with this, because this is a very, very important message. You know, we have so many gun violence acts that are committed in this community and throughout the state, throughout this nation. And that has to change. That has to change. We have to continually put out that message that violence is not the answer. And as this gentleman just said, it's not the answer. But we have to continue that. But even more, on the other side too, with gun safety, there's too many young children that are either injured for life or killed because a gun was not properly stored or properly kept. And you know, these messages are going to bring it right home to the public, right home in your home, as to how, if you're going to be a gun owner, you need to be a responsible gun owner, and you need to take care of that weapon and make sure it's secured at all times. One thing that just, it really, I guess it perturbs me, but we talk all the time to groups all over the parish. I don't care where you live. I don't care if you live in the worst areas or if you live in the most affluent areas. It doesn't matter. Secure your valuables. Lock your doors. Lock your vehicle doors. It's just aggravating when we go handle burglaries and valuables have been stolen out of vehicles, and a lot of times it's guns, and they didn't have their door locked, or they had their gun just out in plain sight. I can almost guarantee you that if you have a gun stolen from your residence that wasn't secured, or a gun stolen from your vehicle that wasn't secured, eventually that gun's going to be used in a homicide, because people that are committing these homicides are not going out and buying guns from vendors or from sporting goods stores or whatever. They're getting them off the streets. And that's what they use. So, you know, Crime Stoppers plays a very important part of this. If you see something, say something. You're totally anonymous. No one's going to. I don't remember in my 42 years in law enforcement anybody that gave Crime Stoppers any information that their identity was let out to the public and known. Crime Stoppers does a tremendous job of making sure that doesn't happen. But once again, I just want to commend everybody, Hillar, Mayor, Chief Paul, everybody, Sid Newman, Crime Stoppers, and all of you in this room, because this would not be coming to fruition, this would not be happening unless you all got on board with this and everybody took part in it. We've had some efforts in the past that were just little piecemeal things, but this is a combined effort, and this is really something that excites me, and I know it excites the rest of us, that all of you are on board. And it takes the whole community. It takes the whole community. We are not going to stop gun violence. We're not going to stop gun accidents unless we all get on the same page. And everybody, myself, everybody else, everybody in this room has a very important part in helping to curb gun violence. So thank you very much for being here.
Just to follow up on what the sheriff said, so if you live in a community that is not affected negatively by crime, I'm talking about a particular community, or not affected by homicide, you yourself or your family could have an impact, a positive impact on homicide in a different part of our community just by simply locking your car door and not having your gun stolen from that car that may be used in a crime of violence or a homicide. So you can also do your part, although you may not be directly affected by crime. I'd like to ask the Chief of Police to come up, and while he's coming up, some of the people that you saw in the commercial, we reached out to the chief because the chief has been community oriented, and he's reached out to a lot of the victims of this homicide, and he's made friends with them and is working with them. And we were fortunate to have that connection to be able to get some of these fantastic individuals on these messages that you see here today. Chief Paul?
Thank you. I want to first thank Hillar and his leadership and the sheriff for his cooperation and partnership, and also other law enforcement agencies who are not here. You know, we work daily with our federal partners, the FBI, DEA, ATF, Secret Service, and Louisiana State Police. And the cooperation and the coordination that goes on in this community is second to none. I go all around the country and we hear about differences or some law enforcement agencies are not working together. I assure this community that is not happening in Baton Rouge. We have a great working relationship here, and it's something that we should be proud of as a community. But this message today is to the community. And what we're asking, when you look at what we're doing here, we're asking for your help. That's really what this is. This is about help. We said from day one that we cannot stop crime without help from the community, that it's going to take the community as well. Our police officers are doing their part. We're working hard every day, and we just need a little more help from the community. And I'm going to repeat some of the things that were said by our mayor and by our sheriff. It's about being responsible gun owners. And I'm going to cover some points that you can do immediately. Some you've already heard. Lock your car doors. People, lock your cars. Secure weapons in your homes. Report stolen weapons immediately. If you lose your weapon, if your weapon is stolen, you can't find it, report it to law enforcement immediately. Keep weapons away from family members, friends, or anyone that is suffering from a mental illness or anyone who's going through a mental crisis. Please keep weapons away from them. Search your kids' rooms. Your parents, search their cars, search their rooms, search their drawers, search under their mattresses, search their rooms. And if you find a gun, call us, call Crime Stoppers. We'll pick it up with no questions asked. We need you to do your part to help us stop this culture of violence. It's not going to change overnight. This culture of violence is going to take some time. But we do have some success in this community, and we're going to continue building on that success. But it's going to take intervention and a disruption of violence. And the first line is the community, it's family, it's relatives. Some of you who are listening to this know what your loved ones are involved in. And I know sometimes it's not easy to pick up the phone and call law enforcement to tell on someone. But think about the end result when you don't do that. We have to change this culture of violence, and it starts at home. It starts in our education systems, and I can go on and on. We in law enforcement, we're dealing with the symptoms. But we're asking you to do your job as a family. There are so many community leaders that you can trust, even if you don't want to pick up the phone and call law enforcement. You can call Crime Stoppers. You can call your pastor. You can tell your teacher. You can tell a barber. You can tell Reggie. You can tell all of these nonprofit organizations that are doing great things in the community. And that's what we're asking you to do. Find someone in your community who you trust, who can bring that information to law enforcement or to some entity that can disrupt that culture of violence. Thank you.
Please give us your ideas, your thoughts. How can we move this message along even further? How can we get this message to our children? How can we help destroy violence in our community? We need your help. If you do broadcast, if there's anybody out there that has money and wishes to try to invest in these types of things, surely the more money we have, the better job we'll be able to do to continue to get our message out. So anyone that's listening to this broadcast would surely like to meet with you and discuss some opportunities that we may have. So we'd like to answer any questions. If anyone has any questions, again, we have folks here that'll be available for your questions afterwards if you'd like. Anyone have any questions at this time of anyone that has spoken here today? Nope. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Support provided by Walters, Papillon, Thomas Cullins, LLC, specializing in business litigation and personal injury cases for over 40 years.